In this video, I'm going to show how to place the airbox assembly on this Lexus IS. This is located in the engine compartment on the passenger side right behind the headlight. Let's get started. Let's start by removing the mass airflow sensor because this is a delicate sensor and I don't want to disturb it in any way while I do the rest of my work. So unplug this. Sometimes these connectors get stiff, so if you have a pocket screwdriver to help it out, use that. Just a lift on the locking tab. Also, this piece of plastic here is supposed to be attached to the connector like that. Mine is broken, so I'm going to leave it as is. Next, use a Phillips head screwdriver to remove the 2 screws that hold this down to the intake. Be careful not to lose these. Remove this by pulling it straight up. And what you want to do is set it in a safe area where there's no debris and it's not going to get bumped or moved around. Next, we have to loosen up this clamp that holds the air intake ducting onto the top of the airbox. So let's loosen up this 10mm headed screw with this clamp here. There we go. Had to work it back and forth a little bit, and what you see here is actually rust penetrant. These clamps always rust and get stuck in place, so be careful because if you turn it when it's stuck, it'll actually snap it. Now you can replace it if you think this is in poor condition. Mine is now working just fine, so I'm going to leave it, but once again, if it's in poor condition, replace it. Now let's make sure this tubing will break free. And it will, but it's easier to remove this and separate these two once the rest of it is unclipped, so let's wait on that. Around the whole airbox, you'll see 4 clips that hold the top to the bottom in place. 1 on each corner pretty much. Just unclip them. This one here is a little bit different. You'll have to unclip it from the top and then unhook it from the bottom. That will allow the airbox lid to lift straight up. And you can twist it, pull it out of here, set this aside. Remove the air filter. There are 2 mounting bolts that secure this airbox to the body of the vehicle. One is right here, you can kind of see it. The other one is right behind the headlight all the way down here. A little bit more difficult to see, but with a long extension, you can easily get to it. Remove both of these using a 10mm socket. Both bolts are the same, so no need to keep them separated. Now with those out of here, we need to lift up on the bottom of the airbox, but it is easiest if we also remove this ducting that goes to the front so it can release from under there. All that holds this on is a push clip on one side, so press that down and lift straight up. On the other side, it should be a 10mm headed bolt. However, it looks like mine was replaced with a Torx, so I'm just going to use whatever fits in here and remove that. But for you, you should be using a 10mm socket. Now you can just move this right out of the way, just like that. This is now freed up. There should be a rubber bushing right down here underneath, and it looks like mine is broken or not connected because this lifts straight up now. And now that it's up, we can also disconnect this wiring harness from right over here. Just pop that out with a trim tool, and there is the rest of your airbox. Disconnect the top and bottom of the new airbox and separate them. This right here is where the rubber bushing was on the old one, and this is also where we're going to slide the new one on. It's still mounted on the vehicle for me, so I'm just going to slip this right down in it. And another thing to pay attention to is this mounting point, as well as this one right here. You want these to line up. Take this and slide it right down into place. And before you get all the way down, reattach this harness. And now, just try your best to get it lined up. You can't really see much down there. Okay, that just dropped right in. I can see both of my mounting points line up. That is secured. So let's get this slid back in. For these push clips, what you want to do is push them out like that, and then you can line them up, drop them in, and press them flush. As for the bolts, just thread it in. Make it nice and snug, about 1/8 of a turn at most after it bottoms out if you're doing this by hand. Try your best to start in the 2 mounting bolts to make sure that they actually line up and have started into their threads. This might be somewhat difficult just because you can't really see very well. Both of mine have started, so let's snug them up. Just give them a quick snug at the end, and that should be plenty tight. These just hold on to a rubber bushing that has a sleeve through it, a metal sleeve. Once it gets tight, just stop right there because it's easy to break these off. Take your air filter and drop it down. Install a new one if needed. This would be a great time to do so. Now take the top of your air box and line it back up with the intake tubing. Press it in all the way. And of course line it up with the bottom half of the air box. Okay, that lines up. So let's clamp this on. It's time to tighten up this clamp. I put a little bit of anti-seize on the threads. I like to do that so they don't get stuck in the future. You also want to make sure that neither of these two metal bands fell off of the rubber piece. They kind of like to spread apart when you unclamp it, and it's very likely for it to come off and then it won't clamp on properly. So once you've made sure everything is good, I like to tighten these by hand so I can feel when they get tight. And you really don't want to feel it getting tight to the point where it stops. You just want to squeeze it a little bit and then try to spin this. If you can't move this around, that's clamped on properly. Any more and it's going to damage the clamp or the rubber intake tubing. Now carefully put the mass airflow sensor back in. Make sure it's fully seated, so press it down. Then take the two little screws and start them in. Be very careful as you tighten these to not strip the threads out. Just like that. It's going into plastic, and as soon as it stops, you want to stop turning it. And put in the other one. That's it right there. We'll plug it in. Listen for that click to make sure it's locked in, and that is job done.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.